The purpose of our bridge was to provide an alternative egress route for the Redbird campus Christian school in Clay County, Kentucky. Currently, the campus there only has one bridge located at the south end of the property, and our goal is to provide them not only an emergency egress bridge, but also an alternative route to school that is much safer and closer.
The most challenging experience of this project was the transition from the first 5 weeks of preliminary design to the final design. As you can see here, we designed 3 preliminary designs. The first one being a cable stay bridge. The second one was a simply supported cable stay, and then the last one was a suspended.
An engineering challenge I faced was definitely the connections of the bridge, especially the cable connections.
So initially our mindset was to design a cantilever retaining wall that runs the length of a berm that one end of the bridge rests on. But a few weeks into the project we decided to use ready rock blocks and design an MSE retaining wall that will rest on a concrete bearing pad.
After the construction of this bridge is completed, the Appalachian Community Health and Disaster Readiness Program will have the capability to improve their evacuation process at the Redbird mission.
I think a positive outcome for our client is just a better means for the way of life in Redbird, Kentucky.
So the people at Redbird are going to have a pretty complete set of drawings and plans to potentially build their own bridge if they have the resources or decide to pursue this.
Our team had the pleasure of working with other disciplines at the university to incorporate all aspects of design.
My personal positive outcome would be learning how to use AutoCAD, because before I had no clue.
So being a member of this team, I was exposed primarily to the geotech work that was involved in this project, and it was something that I hadn't had a lot of exposure to prior to this.
I think being able to work with architects and learning how they think and how they go about solving problems is really a totally different way than what most civil engineers go about solving problems. So I think learning that type of thinking really can help us in the real world when we get out.
One positive outcome for me as the leader of the group was just being able to get ideas from everybody within the group and watching these guys work together and develop the final design plan for our bridge, and being able to learn not only from the design of the bridge but also from the way that these guys worked together and really became teammates throughout the project.
Yeah, and I think another positive outcome was me, for an example. I didn't want to be a civil engineer, I wanted to be a structural engineer. That was all I wanted to do. So I kind of came into this project with the same mind state. And when you think of engineering school, it can be challenging. There's a lot of different classes that you have to take, a lot of material kind of crammed in, and you focus in on one specific thing, how to get through one specific test. And when you get into senior design, you realize that that doesn't quite work anymore. For example, if you're taking reinforced concrete, the professor's most likely going to give you the bearing capacity as a given in the problem statement. In senior design, it doesn't work. I have to go meet with Aaron, meet with the other geotechnical people on the group and develop that bearing capacity and work with them. As well, I have to take the loads that I've analyzed from the structure and give to the geotech people for their foundation calculations. So it's made me a lot better of an engineer, I believe, upon leaving school by doing the project and working with each other.
Colin, can you share how your experience in senior design has enhanced your appreciation for the civil engineering profession?
Sure. Civil engineering and design, and senior design specifically, has shown me exactly why it is so rewarding to myself and society. I've always loved a good challenge, and civil engineering projects provide practical and useful contributions to the public while incorporating creative design aspects that challenge your understanding of the engineering concepts.
Trevor, can you provide some advice or a comment or two for a student who would be entering into our senior design course?
I think to not hide from work, and I think to communicate with your team and to just talk with them and decide what you need to get done to help the project forward and to move it forward. What can you do to help the team as much as possible? So I think going out and communicating with your team would be the advice.
Aaron and Cody, can you provide a comment or two that you would like to share to a community partner who would be interested in working with the senior design course?
Yeah, our senior design project was particularly special in the fact that we got to work with not only the community partner and other members of senior design, but we also got to experience what really happens out there in the real world. Engineers work with government officials along with architects and builders to design the final project. And when we have the opportunity to work with the community partners in real life projects, it gives us the benefit of developing relationships and learning how to build relationships in the future that are going to help us as engineers when we go out into the workplace.
Yeah, and it really transpired more than just in the classroom. We got to have the opportunity to go up there and actually meet the people and get to know what Clay County was like before we actually got into the major design part of the project. And I think that was a pretty big deal to get to do some of the surveying and a lot of the just analysis of the land in the community on our own and experience that firsthand.
Alex, can you provide some insight to students who would be entering the senior design course?
Biggest piece of insight I can provide for students entering the senior design course is for project leaders to delegate extremely well, make sure everybody knows exactly what's expected of them and what they need to do for the team. And for the rest of the team members to diligently work on that part and work it through the entire time. If you have problems, go to your teacher or your leader and get more direction, but just work on what's given to you, knock it out, and go from there.